Good evening, 49er faithful. Welcome to another episode of the live member call-in show. Very excited to have Sneakerheads calling in here. Always love this show. The interaction with members of the channel is one that I always look forward to. I wanted to give a shout out to those that were here early talking in the chat already. CJ Gray calling out for, hey, we need another open call-in show. And I'm with that. We got to have some where everybody can call in. Can't do the video on those. Got to trust that the members are going to treat it right with the video going on. But I love having everybody able to call in. So yes, I will most certainly put one of those on the calendar, perhaps where we have a little more to digest. Very thankful for NFL Live segment today that we're going to be covering on the program. We're going to be bringing in the callers who are already here, excited for the day. The way in which NFL Live looked at this, it was them examining second-year quarterbacks. So Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones. They left it as the first-round quarterbacks, and so you didn't get Davis Mills thrown into any of these categories. But then they went through, and it was Teddy Bruschi, Rob Ninkovich, and Kimberly Martin, and they sporadically, sometimes all three gave their opinion on each category. Sometimes Teddy gave his, sometimes it was Rob Ninkovich, sometimes it was Kimberly and Teddy. So it was a different breakdown. I'll give you what they said in a summary right here. But the five categories that they attempted, again, to put all of the first-round, second-year quarterbacks into, so that is, again, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones. These are the five categories, and they didn't limit that, like, it can only be one person per category. So you found Trey in a couple of these, but here are the five categories. Most pressure, biggest jump, most setup, least setup, and most to prove. All right, I'm going to go through and give you the way in which they laid it out. But first, I have to call out that the man, the myth, the legend who has been single-handedly attempting to get Kyle Juszczyk named as captain for the San Francisco 49ers has become a member of the Sneakerhead community. Very excited for everybody that joins the community, but certainly Gav and I go back a ways, that's for sure. Excited to have everybody here in the chat. See what's up. See Treasure Kisses. See Raphael 5629er. See CJ Gray. See Chris Royal. See the notorious GAV. All right, let me get into the breakdown, and then we're getting to Chris Royal first. So here's how they broke it down. In going into most pressure, Teddy Bruschi was the only one that answered this one, but he listed Trevor Lawrence. And I'll tell you what, that's hard to dispute, right? He listed as, well, he's the first overall pick. The Jaguars went out and spent a bunch of money in free agency. Therefore, he's got to prove himself this season. Biggest jump. This was the one everybody answered. Teddy Bruschi went with Zach Wilson, talking about the Jets and all of the pieces they put around him. Rob Ninkovich went with Trey Lance. He said he's going to have the biggest jump because of the playoff roster and that the San Francisco 49ers are set up for success, which I agree with, but I have to say seems to fit a little bit better in some of the other categories, because it was actually Bruschi who went after that and said biggest jump from what, right? Talking about the fact that it was a small sample size for Trey Lance, that it's hard to take a huge jump from just those two games that were shown last year. Kimberly Martin came in to say Zach Wilson as well, and then doubled down and said it was the best draft in the history of drafts for the New York Jets. So a lot of pressure on Zach Wilson there. I think that's fair. Most set up for success. Teddy was a homer on this one. He went with Mac Jones, looking at the Patriots, right? He's there with Bill Belichick. And so, yes, set up for success. But Kimberly Martin was the voice of reason here, saying Trey Lance. Again, repeating the fact that it is a playoff team and that it has all the pieces, both offensively and defensively. And then least set up, Rob Ninkovich came in, Justin Fields. That's a hard one for me to dispute. I will give my opinions on these as we go through the hour as well. Lastly was most approve. This one got all three. Teddy Bruschi went Trey Lance because he needs to prove that the head coach and GM knew what they were doing when they gave up all that draft capital to grab him. And then you have Rob Ninkovich saying Trevor Lawrence because, again, first overall pick, and Kimberly Martin coming back in with Trey Lance because he is that unknown, because we didn't get much from him on film from year one. And so that leaves him with the most to prove right now. I will be interested to get everybody's take on this one. That's the summary of how NFL Live laid it out. But now let's bring in Chris Royal to the stream. Chris, how you doing, my friend?
How's it going?
Good. How was your trip? You have recently returned from vacation, right? You were out in Astoria. How was your vacation?
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, it was nice weather out there 2 of the 3 days, so it was great.
It has been like summer has finally arrived in Oregon, and it has landed with a thud. Tomorrow we're into the 90s all of a sudden. We can't get a lick of sun, and then we do, and now it's up into the 90s.
Yeah, it's rough because I mean, this stuff, it's no joke. I get sunburned pretty quick because I'm pasty white. So
yeah.
It's
Tell me about it.
It's good to get the sun, but sometimes it hurts afterwards.
Yes, it does. And you need that adjustment. Typically, I get that in spring where I get a few minor sunburns. I feel like I'm just going to get a big burn this time around, jumping straight into summer. Yeah. All right, so we've got the first round quarterbacks, second year quarterbacks coming in. We've got the categories that they've set up: most pressure, biggest jump, most set up for success, least set up for success, and most to prove in their second year. How do you see this breaking out? Who do you see as having the most pressure between Trevor Lawrence, first overall pick, Zach Wilson, second overall pick with a bunch of new pieces in there, Trey Lance on an NFC championship game caliber team, Justin Fields in Chicago, whatever you want to say about the Bears at this moment, and Mac Jones, who seemed to have the most first-year success, but is on the Patriots, a team also that seems primed to make the playoffs again this year?
Yeah, I would say probably Trevor Lawrence, just because he is the first overall pick. I think that in general, puts a lot of pressure on people. I don't really buy into Lance having a whole lot of pressure because it is going to be basically his rookie year. So I think most people that, know anything about football are going to assume that he's probably going to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't see much from him last year. I guess someone could make the argument of, well, the Niners went the furthest, and therefore there would be the most expectations of the team doing that again. But I tend to agree with you in that Trevor Lawrence strikes me as the one who's got the most pressure. He was the number one overall pick. Didn't really feel like he proved why he was the number one overall pick last year. And so he's got a job in front of him in order to just get over that hill.
Yeah,
all right.
I agree.
Biggest jump. Who do you think is set up for the best success to make the biggest leap from year one to year two?
I think skill set wise, to be honest, I think it's going to be the kid from Chicago.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think, we saw spurts of it last year. Once he got into the playbook and settled in, he started making some really big plays. I know their team's not that great, but I think, we've seen, really athletic quarterbacks do a lot of stuff with very little talent. So I think he could take the biggest jump out of all the quarterbacks.
I tend to agree that his athleticism allows him to bring a little something extra to the table. For me, it's between he or Zach Wilson. And my reasoning is that both did struggle last year. That makes it easier for them to prove why they were drafted where they were, what we valued within their skill set to get drafted in the first round. Zach Wilson clearly has a lot of talent around him after the acquisitions the Jets made, after the draft that the Jets had. And, it is tough to pinpoint the Chicago team around Justin Fields, but I agree that it was a pretty, I don't want to say atrocious, but I want to say a pretty atrocious season last year. And so, again, it sets him up to have a big leap forward if he can learn quite a bit and take that step forward. So most set up for success. Who's got the best chance at overall success this season?
I would say probably Mac Jones, but I think Trey Lance has the best team out of all the quarterbacks that are second-year quarterbacks. So I'll be a homer and say that Trey Lance probably nudges that out. But I think, Mac Jones is right up there.
Those are the two that I would put in there as well. And it makes sense being that, again, the Patriots were in the playoffs last year, even though that wasn't a pretty playoff game for Mac Jones. But he did get playoff experience, and Teddy Bruschi pointed that out. I think it's Trey Lance in this one. You have a team around him that's the deepest 49ers team I have come across. So I'm putting Trey Lance in this one as well. Least set up for success.
The least set up for success. Oh man, this one's a tough one. I still think it's Wilson. I just,
Zach Wilson.
They had a really, really epic draft, but
yes,
is it enough? That team was pretty garbage.
It was rough. It was rough. I have to go with my man Dustin on this one, calling out Chicago as not a good team. Fields needing some help. So I got to put Fields in that least set up spot. But I can't fault you until you see all of those pieces come together for New York. All you have definitively is what you saw on tape last year, and that was not spectacular. Most to prove. Who do you think has the most to prove in the league this year?
Most to prove, I would definitely put Lawrence. I think again that number one pick, and Trey Lance wouldn't be too far behind him just because we gave up a lot for him, but also I just
Did we lose Chris? He's frozen for a moment. It gives me time to bring in the notorious GAV's comment. Shout out to Chris's dog. He's the real MVP of the show. Chris, you back? I see movement.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yes. Gav is giving the shout out. It's absolutely. Now, remind me, did we get a name of the German Shepherd?
Oh, his name's Oliver.
Oliver, that's fantastic. Great name. All right, Oliver, star of the show. Okay, sorry, you were saying as you got cut off there. Trevor Lawrence has the most to prove there, first overall pick.
Yeah, and I don't think Trey Lance is too far behind in that category, but at the same time, I think we gotta expect him to struggle just because it's essentially his rookie year.
Yes, I have to either put Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson here in the most to prove. Zach Wilson, being the second overall pick, did not show me much last year. So much like Trevor Lawrence, where I want to see more to justify the first overall pick, with Zach Wilson, I see that again and a better roster around him. So I could put him in this category of most to prove. I do want to bring in, because it is sad, Steve-O Supremo reminding that we did lose Tony Saragusa this week, and it seems, I haven't gotten the details of it, so I don't want to say anything incorrect, but what I did read was that he passed away in his sleep. So I don't know what the cause of death was, but it is sad to lose someone that was a great personality, great sideline reporter, phenomenal player within the NFL. So yes, rest in peace to Goose. Certainly want to put that out there.
Yes, definitely. He was an awesome player. Everything that you saw, like on his, on TV. I mean, it just screamed a good person.
Yes, indeed. All right, so that covers the topic that I wanted to hit with you, Chris. What do you have on your mind from 49ers content?
Well, I was looking at our roster, and I'm super excited about our defense. Just like looking from top to bottom, we were struggling to, think that our defensive backs were going to be, very good this year. And I think they're going to be good. And, that kind of makes me think that between TJ Watt and Bosa, they're going to be making a run for breaking the sack record this year.
I love it. So the 49ers are going to be pushing the Steelers to take that top spot of most sacks in the league.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've got so many weapons on the defensive side. It's just, we're going to make people hurt for sure.
Yes. Now, are the vast majority of sacks going to come from Nick Bosa, or do you see this where the sacks are going to be pretty well spread around? I made a bold prediction that the Niners do take that number one spot in most sacks in the league, and I said 57, and getting to 57 takes a lot of team effort there. How do you see it breaking down as far as, is it going to be mainly the Bosa show, or is it going to be something where the sacks are spread around?
No, I definitely think the sacks will be spread around. I do think Bosa's going to hit, that 23, 24 mark.
Yes.
I think there's a chance. I mean, that's a big number.
I love that prediction, though.
But I think I think it's going to be a lot like in the days of Justin Smith and Alden Smith, where, you know, Justin Smith was able to create some stuff to get Alden Smith free to have open shots on the quarterback. I think we can do that with all the defensive line guys that we have.
Man, I will be fired up if the defense is able to get that kind of pressure this year. That would certainly alleviate some of the pressure from Trey Lance. If we can get a defense that is racking up sacks, that is getting those stops, that is giving the ball back to the offense in positive field position, that would set up Trey Lance for success. No doubt about it.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got Strider 3006 saying, Rob, with a better back end, it should create more chances for sacks all around, with Bosa hitting 20 plus without a doubt. So Strider is right there with you, Chris, believing that we can actually get Nick Bosa above 20, and I'd be fired up for that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's so possible. You know, just giving our defensive line just one more second, you know, to get to the quarterback. I mean, we saw how many times we were so close to sacking quarterbacks last year. You know, give us that one extra second because our backside has gotten a lot better.
Right.
I mean, you know, I think it sets up really well for us.
Yes, it does set up well for us. Well, I'm excited to see those sacks racking up this season. Fingers crossed that we can get that done. Any other Niners topics on your mind, Chris?
No, sir. That's all I got for you.
Chris, as always a pleasure talking to you, my friend. I'm glad that you enjoyed your time in Astoria, and I hope that you enjoy this hot, sunny frickin' weekend that we got ahead of us.
I definitely will. And it wasn't necessarily a backhanded comment. That's not what compliment. That's not what I meant.
Let me give context here. So Chris put in the super chat. I gave him a recommendation for the Bow Picker, which was a fish and chips place. And then Randa and I were on, and he had the comment that was like, hey, went to the Bow Picker, not quite as good as Moe's, but appreciate the recommendation, something along those lines. And Randa and I had a little bit of fun with it. I figured that you might have a response to that, Chris, but please continue.
No, and you know, it's one of those things where I liked the fish of Moe's better.
Yeah.
I like their halibut. But the breading on that tuna that the Bow Picker does is out of this world. So
good. So good.
I mean, man, if you can mash both of those together, it'd just be award winning. It'd be great.
Head over to Moe's, grab the raw ingredients and bring them over to Bow Picker and be like, hey, can you just throw these in your batter and cook them up for me?
They'd probably look at me like I was stupid, but I mean, it'd be amazing.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Well, I appreciate the clarity, my friend.
All right. I appreciate you, Rob. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, Chris. See you soon. All right, we have to do a little out of order. Next should be Korean 49er, Sean 951, but we got to get in Captain Juice because he's got a time out. He's in Wales, and so God knows what time it is over there. So we got to bring in Captain Juice. We got to bring in Gav. So Gav, you are up next, my friend. You are coming into the stream right now. How are you doing, my friend?
What's up, Mr. Schuh?
How
are you, my friend?
I hear your voice. I love that Welsh accent, my friend.
It feels like we've known each other forever, it does, and this is the first time we've talked.
It does. It really does. Quite honestly, like I think back to making that video, like having seen you on Grant's program and then connecting online. We've bounced back and forth tons on Twitter, via email, all of that. And this is quite literally, I've heard your voice dozens of times, but this is the first time that it's been directed at me. It's a pleasure to meet you virtually, sir.
It is. Pleasure's all mine. Honestly, honest to God, Rob, it is all mine. You're an absolute hero of mine, you are, Blake. I swear.
I appreciate it, Gav. That is very kind of you. And I love the work that you're doing as the good-natured man attempting to get Juice recognized on this team for the glorious captain that he is. How's that been going?
Yeah, it's going good. It is. I've been getting a lot of art in. I've got a couple of people helping me out. So yeah, it's been really, really fun to do. Also, I've made it about a charity as well because I do not want to earn a penny out of it. I can't. Basically, all I'm doing is photoshopping captain's badges onto Juice pictures, so I can't earn a penny. So if anybody sees my art on Twitter and they get affected by it and they want to show some love, then Mercy Housing is a housing project in America that helps unfortunate families and people with affordable housing. So if you go on to like mercyhousing.com/donate, Yeah, that's the link right in the air. Show him some love, and yeah, I mean, let's go, Captain Juice. Let's go.
mercyhousing.com/donate.
Yes.
mercyhousing.com/donate. Get in there. That is a fantastic cause. I'm going to be donating myself. I'm very excited to have Gav on the program. Gav, I did see today on Juice, you were saying that some fellow artists, and I'm lumping you in as an artist, whether you want to be called an artist or not, you've been making these edits. So you are, in fact, an artist. And it said that on Twitter that you've got some submissions from fellow artists that are going to be coming out soon. So I'm very excited to see dates, my friend.
I've got Inspector Dabbit. If anybody knows on Twitter, Inspector Dabbit, he's got a few edits for me. I've got two Jesse Naylor edits as well coming up. I've got an Ev Days one as well. I have. So I'm reaching out to people. If you do art, if you do edits or anything like that, reach out to me on Twitter. Right, my handle is at @NotoriousGav_, all one word, and just DM me. All I ask is the pictures of Juice must have a captain's badge with 1 star on. That's all. Right, I will give you credit right in the air. I will link anything you want, like your YouTube, any internet pages or anything like that. You will get all the credit for any of the art that you sent me. Or maybe it might be a picture of you in a Juice Check jersey. Right, send me a picture of you in a Juice. Anybody, if you've got a Juice Check jersey, send me a picture of that, and maybe I'll do an edit of that, and we'll fit you in that way. So yeah, I'm just looking for other people to get involved. Yeah, because we all love Juice. So let's all come together as a community and let's make this happen.
I love it. I absolutely love it. We need the Juice support. And if anyone struggles to, I mean, it should be should be easy to find the Notorious GAV on Twitter. But if you have any issues finding him, you reach out to me. I'll connect you to Gav. You can hit me at 49ersmailbag@gmail.com. I will connect you to Gav. No question about that. All right, Gav, do you have time? Do you want to run through those 5 categories and tell me who you believe the second-year quarterbacks, where they fall?
Hang on, let me stop you right there. Let me put me down for Trey Lance on everything, right in the air, apart from the least to succeed, right in the air. The least to succeed, right in the air. Right, I think is going to be Justin Fields. I think with the Chicago Bears, he's going to struggle there. I think
that's a tough setup for him.
It is.
That really is. Okay, so you've got most pressure, Trey Lance. Biggest jump, Trey Lance. Most set up for success, Trey Lance. Most approved, Trey Lance.
Well, he's got the most to prove, and he's under the most pressure because he's the one quarterback that was in the draft that cost the most draft capital. So he's got a lot to prove there. He's got to give us a return on that investment. Do you mean? So the pressure's all going to be on him. I know. Zach Wilson went second, and I went and Trevor Lawrence went first, but they didn't cost 3 first-round picks. They didn't. So all the pressure is on Trey Lance to deliver. I mean, and also, Kyle Shanahan's job rests on Trey Lance as well. If he doesn't, if he comes out as a losing season this year, he's going to be under a lot of pressure. He is. Do you mean? So, yeah.
Those are great points. I mean, the idea of how much draft capital was given up to move to go grab Trey Lance is a great point to bring up. And the idea that he ended up in San Francisco where winning does matter and expectations are significantly higher. Yes, people may have high expectations for the Jets, but if they're Jets fans, they still know it's the Jets. They're prepared for a letdown to come. And Jacksonville Jaguars fans, pretty similar boat, right? So Trey Lance, I have to agree with the logic you're using here. Gav, I think you've hit the nail on the head, my friend.
Yeah, right. I've got to shoot. Because I got to go for my other show. Right, Rob. I will be calling in every week from now on. I'll make this a regular. I will. Right.
It is my pleasure to have you on here, Gav. I'm thrilled that you were able to make it for the first time. Thank you, good sir.
Before I go, right, everybody, make sure you like, subscribe, and share the video, please. Right there, let's get Rob Schuh's content out there. We all know he's a great guy and he deserves all our love. Right, let's go faithful.
All right. Thank you very much, Gav. I look forward to talking to you the next time. Good, sir.
Yeah, it'll be a longer conversation next time. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. We'll make sure.
All right. Bye.
All right. Take care. All right. We are bringing in, back to the order of things, we are bringing in Korean 49er to the stream. Korean 49er, how you doing this fine Thursday, sir?
Can you hear me, Rob?
Yes, sir. Audio is crisp.
So, my thing is, I think on the category of the quarterbacks.
Yes.
Most likely, what were the categories again?
So first one is most pressure. Who's under the most pressure to succeed this year?
That's Zach Wilson because the Jets are usually a, raging tire fire most of the time, and they've never had too much stability at starting quarterback since Mark Sanchez, the last one, at least for that little run. Remember, he went to those AFC Championship games at the least.
Man. Yeah.
But,
I mean, before that, you got to look at Chad Pennington, right? It's been a little bit of a quarterback drought there in New York. So that's fair. He's in the New York market. They just spent a boatload of money on some new additions to the team. They brought in a hell of a lot of draft capital in the draft. You know, people talking about this being the best draft ever for the New York Jets, specifically Kimberly Martin today, declaring it the best draft ever for the New York Jets. And I don't think she's off base in saying that. So it is fair to say most pressure lands square on the young, baby-faced Zach Wilson. All right, biggest jump from year one to year two. Who's going to have that big statistical improvement?
I'm going to say Trevor Lawrence because he actually has a real coach this time instead of Urban Meyer.
Nice. You are a fan of the acquisition of Doug Peterson?
I mean, he is the only coach that got the Eagles to a Super Bowl victory. That's what the record says, at least. So
yeah, that is fair. Okay, so you see the biggest jump for Trevor Lawrence, and it wouldn't need to be a miraculous season for it to be a big jump. I mean, he did struggle last year. You can certainly point to the team that he was on, but struggled nonetheless. And so, yes, I think it's fair to assume that the talent is there. There was a reason he was taken number one overall. There's a reason that, I like to call him sunshine and see him succeed. So, yes, I think he may take that biggest jump. That's fair. Most set up for success.
Most set up for success. I'm going to say Trey Lance just because no matter this team is not far off from that Super Bowl, even though
they're not,
and that championship game run. So you have to at least, based on what you know rather right now, if the team is about the same or a little bit better, you got to say Trey Lance is, as long as he doesn't hose things up.
I'm with you there. I don't think he's going to screw anything up. I think he is set up for success. I agree. You got the team that went the furthest in the playoffs last year. We brought back a fair number of our own people and brought in people to replace those free agents that we did lose. I think this is the deepest 49ers roster that I have covered, the deepest roster that I have seen since pre-salary cap days. So I have to agree that most set up for success is Trey Lance. And we're talking to the right audience here because you know that people want to hear that. Before I get to the last two, just want to bring in Chris Royal with the super chat coming in. I love it. Rob is a genuine class act, an amazing human being. Also knows some dope fish and chip spots. So smash that like button, everyone. Chris, fantastic. Well said. And thank you. I mean, I don't know what to say about the compliments. That is heartwarming. And I feel the same way about the people that are on this channel, that it's just an amazing group of individuals that come together. All right, let's continue on with these last two. Who's least set up for success in your book? And is this one an easy one? Does this really only belong to the one?
I think so. I think it is Justin Fields of the Bears. Nothing against Justin Fields, but usually the Bears are a cemetery for starting quarterbacks in their history.
Yeah, I actually like Justin Fields, and I think in the right situation could be set up for success. It just doesn't seem that that's a top priority for the Chicago Bears. I don't quite understand where in the process of competing or rebuilding Chicago is. They seem to be in a bit of a holding pattern. They have the quarterback of the future. Typically, that's when you want to push some chips into the middle of the table. You might make the same criticism of the 49ers in this offseason, but I think they were prudent in the way they acted. Chicago, I just can't see a clear path forward. Who do you see with the most to prove this year?
I'm going to say Mac Jones because the Patriots want to continually move on from Tom Brady.
Yes.
Yes.
Patriots fans need the next great. That's what happens when you're spoiled for 2 decades. Can you imagine growing up a Patriots fan in this era where all you knew was winning? Like, you have no idea how hard it is in the NFL because you had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in a bunch of freaking championships. No concept of how difficult it is to win every single year.
Well, they also had John Hanna in the 70s and 80s too. when he was probably the best interior offensive lineman in the history. And I think they had that season where they ran for almost 3,200 yards. And
That's
I mean,
impressive.
I don't think any team's going to get close to that.
Yeah, not in today's pass-happy NFL, right? It would take like a Kyle Shanahan super team to really put up numbers like that anymore. I did see there was also a recent, I'll botch it, so I'm not going to bring it up. I will try to bring up the article that I'm referencing later on in the show. All right, so that one covers the most approved. Did you have any other 49ers thoughts that you wanted to bring to the table, Korean 49er?
2 49er questions and then a lighthearted, like an off topic.
I dig it.
First question, do you actually see a just before training camp deal for Debo? Because I don't. Because I think Debo is still dug in, even though he's putting on the happier face.
Yeah, right. We haven't seen anything from him showing discontent since he came back, since he stopped putting that out on social media, and since he then showed up to the mandatory minicamps. But he did show up to mandatory minicamps, you could say, to not get fined, and that would be a reasonable reason or assertion to say that he showed up not to get fined. He did look like he was carefree, happy amongst his friends when he did so. But I'm sure this question comes up from George Kittle's recent comment. So he was on a podcast, that bus with whomever it was that was doing the podcast there. The name is escaping me at the moment. But Kittle essentially said, "Hey, no hard feelings. Like I believe he will get paid toward the end of July, as all these big contracts have gotten done by the 49ers. And I respect that if he feels he needs to do something in order to maximize his earning potential, no hard feelings about that, even if it means clearing out his locker," or some comments along that. And so it underscored that George Kittle both doesn't fault Debo for what he said and did, and believes that it will get done. Historical data is something that I tend to rely on in this level of speculation. And the historical data seems to pretty definitively point towards the 49ers getting it done right before they come into camp. They've done it with all their big deals. Kittle talked about the fact they've done it with all their big deals. That in combination with what John Lynch has said about not being willing to trade Debo Samuel, I do believe that before the start of preseason practices, we will see a contract for Debo Samuel. I do think it will be last minute, though.
Most likely, yes. And I don't think this upcoming year the defense gets a significant amount of extra turnovers. We're the ball hawks. They didn't get any.
Right.
I mean, it's nice to get sacks, and I'm never against getting pressure on the quarterback, but I mean, unless someone has a great year and has 10 interceptions like Trayvon Diggs did recently with the Cowboys,
right,
I don't see it.
I think you bring up a very fair criticism of the players that the 49ers added to the defense. They certainly have the bodies to generate significant pressure. I don't think it's a question that the 49ers could end up top 5 in sacks. That seems like a given to me, barring significant health issues. But you're right. They did not add anyone, who's going to add to the interception total. And that is an area where the 49ers have struggled defensively. I could see a situation. Two things give me optimism, but I have to agree. I am conceding this point to you that I want to see greater turnovers. I'm hoping for greater turnovers. I think logically speaking, you make a far more compelling statement that, hey, we have not historically generated them. We've not added anyone that will generate them. Therefore, it's fair to assume we're going to continue middling there in the turnovers forced. But my hope is if we are able to generate significant sacks and significant pressure, you will see greater numbers of errant throws. And therefore, even those players that aren't ball hawks will have more opportunities to come down with those footballs. And then secondly would be Jason Verrett, who has proven an ability to pick it off when he stays healthy. Now, the reason I won't take that and take it to the next logical leap of Jason Verrett will stay healthy and will make those turnovers, will corral those interceptions, is just the again, historical data has shown us that he struggles to stay healthy. So I think it's illogical to assume that he will this season. So there's some ifs required in my book in order to pump up the turnover margin for the 49ers.
Yeah, it's not. We hope that the team defense gets more turnovers, but hasn't so far yet shown that.
Yeah. What's the old saying? Hope and wish in one hand and defecate in the other. See which one fills up first.
My dad always said, "Talk is cheap," and Johnny Walker Black costs money. You like a little scotch every once in a while. So
yes. And if you're gonna have scotch, have good scotch. That is my 2 cents on that. All right, I like it. So you said you had one lighthearted topic for us.
1.5. I won't be on next week, so everyone have a nice 4th of July weekend. Don't blow your fingers off by doing something really dumb.
Right. Good advice.
I mean, I have to believe that we still have a few operating brain cells to not want to go into the ER during a holiday weekend.
Fingers crossed. I mean, some of us do. Some of us don't. Some of us get to a holiday weekend and all those brain cells check out and we just decide to act stupid. But, that is life around here in America.
If you're gonna have a few alcoholic beverages, have them at home.
Yes, good call.
Or
good call.
Have a designated driver, because that's far cheaper than getting a lawyer and whatever else comes from that.
Oh my God, is that true? An Uber twice a week, every week for the year is far cheaper than one DUI every 5 years. Like, those things added up do not equal one another. The DUI is more expensive. So be safe out there, Niners fans.
Yes. I'm going to see Lamb of God next week in concert. So I don't know if you know them, but
very cool. I'm familiar with the name, but I couldn't tell you any of their songs without hearing them first.
That's fair. So also, if you do get sunburned, aloe never works for me because I just keep feeling the burn. But my dad's a doctor, and he said, if you have a blender, a little bit of water, a little bit of ice, and slice up a bunch of cucumbers and blend it for like a minute, and just put it on those areas that are really burnt, and within a half hour to an hour, it just starts feeling cooler.
All right,
because you're adding
I love this home remedy. And given by a doctor, no less. I am all for that. I will absolutely try that.
And sunburn is when you lose moisture and vitamins from your skin, so that generally adds it back.
I love it. Absolutely.
So
that's fantastic.
All right.
Thank you very much for the call, Korean 49er. Always a pleasure talking to you. I hope that you have a wonderful 4th of July. Sorry that we won't see you next week, but I'm sure that we will talk the week following that.
I'll be sure to take up the hearing protection to not go stone deaf forever.
Yes, please do. Yeah. You got to be able to hear these shows. That's very important. So take care of those ears. All right, my friend. Enjoy the concert.
Yep. Thanks, Rob.
Absolutely. Take care. All right, we are bringing in Sean 951 to the Niners and 951 to the Niners. We are bringing in Sean 951 Niners to the program. I'm sure he'd like it if he were brought into the Niners. We do need special teams. We got our kicker, punter, and long snapper all going to be free agents next year. Sean, which of those 3 positions would you be able to fill?
Well, Robbie's been pretty darn good, so I don't think I'm going to be able to. Are you talking about me personally? Or
yeah. Well, are you going to be our punter? I mean, I feel like you might be able to replace Mitch, because Mitch, he hasn't been punting so great lately, but the man can lay some hits, and I get the impression that you might be able to stick a dude. You know what I mean? Lay the shoulder, put him out cold. I just get that feeling. So I think maybe you could fill in for Mitch.
I could do that, but long snapping is the easy answer, because if you guys all recall the beginning of the Super Bowl run for the Patriots, their long snapper was Lonnie Paxton, number 66. He did the snow angel after the Charles Woodson game.
Yes.
He went to my high school. I trained with him when I was playing football, a little bit younger than him, and I did a lot of long snapping with him. So that would be the logical, easy answer. Now, in the shape I'm in today, I don't know if I could get down and grab the football and throw it that far. It's been 23 years, but, hey, that would be the logical answer.
The glory days may be behind us, but we still got to dream big, my friend. So that is a good point, though. If you want to get your kids into the NFL, train them how to be a long snapper. That is a beautiful way to go about it. Now, I see you obviously are there in Las Vegas. We talked about the fact that you were going to be there. I see Wynn in the background there. So does that mean that you are at the what's the sister hotel to the Wynn? Is that where you are?
Yeah, I'm at the Encore. Yeah,
Encore. That's right.
32nd floor, something like in the middle. Yeah.
The Encore is beautiful. I feel like that one is all sweets, at just as high end as the Win and the newer of the two properties.
Correct.
I have not played golf at that golf course that's right out back there, but I hear amazing things about it. Yes, it is major ducats to play there. Oh, look at that. Look at that view.
Yeah, that's where they just did the match with Brady and Rodgers and Allen and Mahomes.
Nice.
But if you play on a weekday, or not just a weekday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll pay $750 a round.
Damn.
And that will come with like shining your shoes, shining your clubs, like all that. They'll change your cart out every 9 holes.
They better for $750.
I know. I haven't played it because I'm not that good. Like I'd rather, I'd rather have beer. I mean, here we go, right?
Right. I'd rather end up at a par 3 course where I'm crapping it up than paying $750 to go show my ass on that course.
And that's cheap. Otherwise, you'd be at $1,250 or $1,300 depending on the weekend. Like if they have UFC here or something crazy, they'll jack it up double.
They are racking it in. That is crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to get your opinion on these 5 categories and the 5 second-year first-round quarterbacks: Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. Who do you feel of those 5 has the most pressure on them to succeed this year?
So I'm going to give a couple names for different reasons, though.
Yeah.
Trey Lance has the most pressure because he's replacing a quarterback that wasn't horseshit.
Yes.
So all the other guys didn't replace anybody. Fields replaced nobody.
Right.
Wilson replaced nobody. Lawrence replaced nobody. Who's the other guy?
Mac Jones.
I mean, who did he replace? Cam Newton, and throwing balls into the dirt and couldn't.
Yeah, right.
He replaced nobody. So he has the pressure just simply because we saw what Jimmy did last year, regardless of what his importance was. It is what it is. We were in the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
We're not a worse team than last year on paper, at least right this second.
Nope.
So he would have the most pressure from the faithful because we are divided, right? Half are Jimmy lovers and half are let's go Trey. That's now, fair. Anyway. If I was to say NFL wide, I think the most pressure is probably going to fall on – it's close. I would say it's probably going to fall on Wilson and the Jets. And the reason I say this is he's a young kid.
Yeah.
New York, it's year 2.
Big market.
Yeah, New York is nasty. And the biggest problem, and this is going to sound counterintuitive, but the biggest problem with him, and he had nothing to do with it, is they had a great draft.
Yes.
If they would have just had a mediocre draft and New York wouldn't have New York Times'd it, and made it this big deal, their expectations now are artificial for that guy.
Yeah, they have hyped up. The hype machine is running in New York, and so expectations are climbing there as well.
So for the NFL, him. Do I think it's fair? No. Do I think he's going to succeed? Nope. Do I think Salah's going to be out pretty soon? Yep. Even though I like Salah.
Yeah.
But my hope is D'Amico gets a job, Salah gets fired, we just bring him back and we just keep going. That's my hope.
Ooh, now if you had the option between bringing Salah back or bringing in Vic Fangio, would you go with bringing Robert Salah back?
I automatically go Salah. I love Fangio from the Harbaugh days, but at the end of the day, the train that we're running on defense and the guys that have gotten paid because of Salah. So Salah's scheme, I should say, not because of Salah. Right. So let's just keep it going. I mean,
that makes sense. One's a proven commodity within this current team, and the other one is from an era past. That seems to be fair.
Well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was going to take us to the next category, but please continue.
I'll be quick. But more than anything, we're building continuity, which is the best side of our team right now. We don't know what our offense is next year. So assuming our offense is let's just say they're good. They're good. We get back to the playoffs. We do our thing. Nothing was catastrophic, just maybe some bad luck, and we didn't win a Super Bowl.
Sure.
The defense is going to be the defense. I would rather keep the continuity on the defense running straight forward than having to have the defense take a step back. Maybe we change a little bit of the scheme. Maybe our players change, then we have to rely on the offense. I'd rather have our defense be the staple and let Lance build with the pieces, assuming, of course, we finish Debo and his contract. Yeah.
Right. Assuming that we get him back. That makes sense. And continuity is underrated in my book. Absolutely, especially on defense. Got to bring in Chris with comments on that round of golf saying, hell, for $750, I'd rather buy some beer, order some pizza, play 2 rounds of mini golf, and pocket $500.
So I can tell him I'm doing some of it. I'm doing some of it. So I'm staring at the golf course for free. Yes. I am drinking the beers, but I haven't played any mini golf. I don't know where there is mini golf in Vegas. So I don't know.
Right. That is something that you would think would be all over the place with the amount of families and whatnot that come to Vegas. I'm sure it's somewhere. Vegas has freaking everything. Yeah. All right. So biggest jump. Who takes the biggest statistical jump? Or, I mean, I guess they don't call out statistical. That's the way I read it. But who takes the biggest jump from 2021 to 2022?
Yeah, if it was statistical, I mean, just because I'm a business guy, obviously it's Lance. He played twice.
Yeah, you're like, who had the least number of stats?
Unless he gets hurt week 1, I think pretty much Lance is the lock there. But
right.
No, but I mean, in terms of reality, I mean, I can't put money on Lawrence, new coach. I can't put money on Wilson. It's just a messy situation. It's hard for me to think Fields with still having Nagy there. It's hard for me to think that's going to change because nothing's really changed in regard to that team. And we'll find out week 1. You've got 2 of the quarterbacks in this question playing week 1, right? We're at Chicago.
Right.
But truthfully, I just feel like because of the way by default we're built and what Shanahan's scheme is going to be and what I'm hearing from everybody so far about Lance, I just can't imagine statistically or not, unless Lance just turns sideways on us. I cannot imagine him not being – I mean, shoot, I'm going to go put money on him for MVP. I promised y'all I'd do that. I just haven't gotten downstairs today. So I'll do it, and then I'll text you the ticket so you know I did it. But
please do.
I think I'd have to say Lance, my man.
What odds is he going? Do you know what odds he's going off at
he's
yet?
Plus
or
5,000 right now.
What is it?
Plus 5,000.
Plus 5,000. That's pretty good. I may need to connect with you offline. I may need to Venmo you a couple bucks to put down a little wager for me as well. That may just have to happen, my friend. Get a little money on the young gentleman. No All right, who's most set up for success this year?
I mean, it's going to be the same exact answer I just said.
It's got to be.
The reason I chose him in the last one is because he's set up for it.
Yep.
I will say there's a part of me that says, hey, Mac Jones is also set up for success closely because, one, he played a whole year.
Right.
You got to imagine, just like he did in Alabama, you give him the next year around. Now, granted, it's a different league, but I'm going to assume he should be a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable. No rookie woes. You think he should be able to just run that offense.
Yeah.
I choose Lance because Lance will be explosive.
That's a great separator, right? If you need a differentiator between the two, they both come back to very complete teams. Mac Jones got significantly more experience last year, to your point. Got a playoff game under his belt. Wasn't pretty, but did get a playoff game under his belt. And so it would be fair to lean that direction. But then you bring in the athleticism of Lance. I like it. That takes it to the next level. Who's least set up for success?
Before I go to least, I will say the one thing I'm counting on, and obviously I don't know for sure, I think Shanahan will watch those 2 games against Houston and Arizona from last year when he ran Lance. I think he's going to look at that and go, you know what, because he's a schemer. That's what he is. Everyone says he's this brilliant mind. He's just a great schemer. He uses your weaknesses against you. I really think that the downs that Lance is called to actually run, like we saw last year, I think are going to be more built around our receivers and tight ends, drawing linebackers the hell out of the gaps. Because if you can just scheme the dummies, now all of a sudden he just has to beat the end, or Williams just throw your guy left, and then you can design a run where you get into space, slide, and you're protected. I don't think we're going to see a lot of that, 4th and 1, Lance is going to run here or there, and we're going to stack the box. I don't think he's that dumb. We have too many playmakers. He'll let them handle the brunt of that, in my opinion, or I hope so.
Right.
But we shall see. But the least,
I hope so as well.
Yeah, the least. Whew, man, I think they're all tied. The other ones are all tied. Not Mac Jones, but I think Fields, Wilson. That's it, right?
Fields, Wilson. Oh, so you're going just one per category? Is that once you
Fields and Wilson's tied for least?
Yeah,
I'm not throwing Mac Jones because I just said he's
most right.
Him with Lance. So I think it's really those 2 are good. These 2 are just wishing they're on different teams.
And then Trevor Lawrence somewhere in the middle there.
No, I think same thing. I mean, the guy led the league in interceptions last year, close to Stafford, or him and Stafford, I think, were tied or something like that. That was, I mean, everyone can blame Urban Meyer, but let's keep it real. I mean, he's still a quarterback. He knows where to throw the ball. If the guy's open, throw the open guy. But the problem is none of his guys get open. So he's going to have to force a lot of balls. I don't see his year changing much unless they have some miracle run game that comes to fruition, which I don't think anyone respects him enough to even allow them to run. They're just going to force him to show his second-year prowess under a new head coach. So I think they're all in the same boat.
That makes sense. Before we get to most approved, I want to bring in my boy Dirk Pippen. He's talking a little crazy right now, and I got to bring it in because, I got to hold him to account here. Dirk predicting Trevor Lawrence will have a better statistical season than Trey Lance. Dirk, we may need to put a little bit of money on this, my friend, or maybe a friendly gentleman's wager between two old friends. Dirk, we will connect on that. In the battle of the TLs, he says. Yes, the battle of the TLs is real. I just can't imagine Trevor Lawrence having a better statistical season, but potentially more passing yards. I could see that. But as far as touchdown to interception ratio, number of touchdowns, total statistical package, all right, we're going to have to define it. We are going to have to define this, Dirk.
Can you just ask Dirk? I mean, I know you only get, 200-something characters, just so you can bring it back up. Since he's not obviously on here.
Right.
Just give us, you don't need to be thorough and make it, like we're writing an essay here. Just give me your top 4 reasons why, and not because you like him, like be specific, because of the schedule, because of his coaching, because he's the man and he's going to be like, just give me your top 4 reasons. I would love to see it. I just want to see it.
I love it. And Dirk's saying that we can bet on both. Absolutely. Dirk, we will. We'll see if we can get that in while we are working through the most approved. If not, I'll bring it into the program later. I'm sure Dirk has some reasoning. He's a very logical dude, very intelligent guy. All right. So most approved from those second-year quarterbacks. Who do you think has the most approved here, Sean?
To the fan base, Trey Lance, because he's the only quarterback that didn't play. The rest of them, we have a whole season to say, you sucked, prove it. Like, we don't have that from Lance, all right? So to the faithful, Lance. To the NFL, I would have to go with Lawrence. You're the number 1 overall pick, so prove to me you're worth the number 1 overall pick. I mean, I personally don't care if you improve or not. But yes, you should be the one sitting there. It doesn't matter if you're a bad team. Everyone goes to a bad team when you're number 1, unless they were terrible in giving draft picks away.
Right.
Like, some teams we know.
Right.
But it should be him. I mean, he's the one that everyone's looking at as that next Peyton Manning stature and brain sense. So let's see.
It has to be between those two, in my opinion, as well. It has to be between Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance. And I agree for the same reasons that you laid out. Let's bring back in Dirk Pippen's answer to the question of what are the reasons for believing Trevor Lawrence will have a better statistical season than Trey Lance. Dirk answers, new head coach, easier schedule. He does run, and Jacksonville elevated over the offseason. So I do think it's fair to say Doug Peterson coming in should be an improvement for Jacksonville. They definitely have an easier schedule than the 49ers, who have one of the tougher schedules in the NFL. Trey Lance also has wheels, so I would probably put that as a bit of a wash. And then I do have to give it to Jacksonville for spending some money, but it doesn't feel like they hit home runs to me in the offseason. So I'm a bit of a wait and see on whether they have put together a more cohesive unit for Trevor Lawrence there. But solid logic, and I'm anxious to make up this wager. It will be a fun one.
So, okay, we'll go through that. Leave that up there. So, coach, Doug Peterson, who got a Super Bowl out of an improbable run from a backup quarterback.
Yeah, the Nick Foles
and
saga.
Then he was garbage and got fired. Or Kyle Shanahan, who, when he has a team that he's built, remember, he can't go the 1-9 and the 6-10s. I mean, he inherited crap. Like, what was he supposed to do? You got to build it, right? Now, Peterson inherits crap. I get that. But at the same token, they're still crap. So, like, to me, I don't know how that is going to put Lawrence in a better position. We'll go to the schedule. You're accurate. Their schedule is way easier than our schedule.
Way easier.
The problem is their team is way worse than our team. So we can ratio it that way or whatever. That's fine. So he runs. He runs because they're terrible. He doesn't run because they call designed runs. he just has to run. If he doesn't, he throws the most interceptions in the league because his guys don't get open. Our guys get open. They literally get open on almost every single play because we have 4 playmakers.
They get open, and Kyle Shanahan schemes them open for sure.
And Jacksonville elevated the offseason. You ever been on an elevator? Once you get to the bottom floor, you can't go any lower.
Nowhere to go.
All you got to do is get out of the parking garage, and you've elevated. So you're accurate, but the ratio, we elevated. Do we feel like we're not better on paper than we started last year right now? The answer is yes, we are, minus not knowing what Lance does versus Garoppolo because he's a known commodity. We know he throws picks, but he knows he's a winner. So good call, Dirk. I'd love, let's see, man. We got a while to go, but
it is going to take us a little while to settle this one. That's for sure.
Yes, I'm in Vegas. My money is not on that color.
Yes, I like it. Dirk, I'm going to bring in a couple of Dirk's comments that are a few minutes before, so they're not direct they're not direct responses, but they are in fact relevant to the conversation. Dirk saying, so it's even in both running, Trevor Lawrence and Trey Lance, but Debo and the running backs in San Francisco will get the significant lion's share of the touchdowns. That's a fair observation. The run game in San Francisco does draw the focus. He calls out that, yes, in fact, he was able to elevate someone like Carson Wentz to almost MVP status. He didn't actually get the MVP, though, did he?
He got hurt.
He got hurt. Right. And then Dirk asking, how often will Trey actually run in the red zone? And that does remain to be seen. Okay. So it's a fair stance. I tend to side on, obviously, Trey Lance. That's where I'm putting my money in this wager. And I'm siding with Sean 951 and the reasoning behind it. But Dirk, I do appreciate the logic and the way in which you have laid it out and the discussion that has happened as a result of it.
But let's hope that he's right on those statistics. I don't want Lance to run in the red zone. That box is stacked. He's going to get hit every time. So unless he's scrambling and it's a broken play like Dak in our playoff game when he ran around the left side.
Right.
But if it's a designed run, I don't want any of that stuff for him. We already got 2 games of designed runs. Like, I'm over that. Be done with that. So good. Let him run and see if he can continue to his career in year 2, Lawrence, if he's going to keep getting beat up that way. But what was the one before that? Before the running, you brought up Dirk's thing. What did he say?
Before the running,
running for the touchdowns
was around Wentz, elevating Wentz to MVP.
So everyone, it's very easy to say that head coach elevated him, and I don't know Dirk, but we know football teams. You have a lot of coaches that come into that. I don't remember anyone saying that Frank Wright wasn't the one that elevated Carson Wentz to Carson Wentz, which is why he went to the Colts. Now, you can say, well, he went to the Colts and he wasn't the Carson of old, but nobody's ever seen the Carson of old unless you played the 49ers in the rain, in a swamp, week 4, whatever that was last year. So I don't know who is responsible for success, but at the end of the day, when you are a one-hit wonder, which is what he is at this point, one good year, I wouldn't want to be responsible for that. Right? No one's crazy about Gangnam Style, the song. The guy had one hit, no one even
one hit wonder. Well, Dirk is coming back in to say, Sean 9519er, you rule. Great vibes and a win. I appreciate the positivity back and forth. I absolutely love it.
You too, Dirk. 49ers.
Right on. All right. So, Sean, did you have any other Niner talk? We got through the categories for our second-year quarterbacks. We pigeonholed them into the best category that fit their expectations for this season. Did you have anything else Niner-related on your mind, or Vegas-related for that matter?
Well, I'm dressed like this because I'm literally about to go get in that jacuzzi down there because I've been walking at my trade show the last 2.5 days. My knees are killing me. But,
dude, get yourself some freaking rest and relaxation, my friend.
And I will put money on Lance, and I'll either FaceTime you with it or whatever so we can figure that out together.
Beautiful.
I don't have to do it today. I'm here tomorrow, too, so we can do it then. But, no, nothing much. I mean, I like the topic today. That was great. We get to feed off something else versus brainstorming. But
yes. That was it was good timing by NFL Live. I record that program every day, and I threw it on to speed through the commercials. I saw that. I was like, oh, that's gold. That is gold.
Yes. And as soon as I believe from what Kittle and everyone's talking about Debo too, I really think now they're going to shift, Jimmy's money to Debo for this year, and then move on from there. I mean, because there's no other reason to wait at this point unless really, Debo's team is, trying to play super duper crazy hardball. But I think at that point, I don't think Debo would have been all that happy when he showed up to the mandatories. I think it would have been pretty sour. Like, you show up to a job and you're not going to get the money you want. Like, your boys would know about that. Somehow,
you're dragging ass. Like, you're moping. Yeah.
Dude, they text, they drink beers, they do whatever. Like, I mean, somebody somehow, some way is going to be like, he's mad. I've heard nothing negative since the draft.
No.
So to me, I just think it's a formality. And he said, hey, guys, do I need to be at mandatory? You got to get Danny Gray and some other receivers. Why don't you work their asses out? Like, I know what I'm doing. We're good. I don't want to run the ball. Maybe saying I don't want to run the ball. So work that out of there. And let's just see what happens, in terms of that with Jimmy G. But outside of that, I mean, I love the fact that the narrative is really changing around America, starting with, I think, the whole Lance MVP sway in the beginning, because you put positivity, it is. You throw positivity around everywhere, people open their eyes to oh, crap, well, I was actually negative. So wait a minute, is there something to this? Everyone's kind of shifting a little bit. Nobody's just downing him. Everything's kind of like, whoa, damn. I'm hearing the same things I heard out of Kansas City year 2 with Mahomes. So he's got to prove it, but I'm hearing the same things. And honestly, Andy Reid, right? He's right there with Shanahan with those minds of the NFL, right?
Yes.
So to me, man, if Shanny's working up his magic and he believes in our O-line, remember, we got to trust the O-line here.
Have to.
If he believes in that, then, hey, I always say, I don't own the team. I'm going to believe and trust in my coach. What am I supposed to do? Otherwise, I'm not faithful. I'm unfaithful.
That's right. That's right. I'm with you. I'm trust but verify, right? I trust that Coach Shanahan is going to take us in the right direction, and we will verify it once the games start. We will break it down. Sean, go enjoy Vegas, man. I'm jealous that you're there, jealous that you're enjoying the Encore. That's a fabulous hotel. I'm sure that they will have a premium jacuzzi for you to go down there and just relax and ease off those miles, those trade show miles that you've been racking up.
Man, I got to show it too, man. Not to get all weird, but this is what I roll down with my shorts.
Nice. Hey, man, nothing weird about showing off the Niners shorts. Nothing weird about that at all.
Those are the board shorts. That's what I wear in the pool.
My man.
A lot of people talking nonsense Raiders out here.
Oh, I bet you will have some. And, it's Vegas, so there'll be people from all over. I'm guessing you will run into a lot of NFL fans.
Well, I've been here a week, man. I leave tomorrow, so it'll be good. And look forward to next week. I love y'all, faithful.
Most definitely. Sean, you take care, my friend.
All right. Later, buddy.
Later, buddy. All right. Yes, indeed. We are bringing in William Bennett to close out the show today. Just wanted to bring in a comment. Terror Dome, member of the channel here, put in our flaws last year: limited quarterback, secondary, talent, and depth. Compliment to Bosa, special teams. All addressed this offseason. We are better. That was an answer to that question of whether we, in fact, are improved from last year. Terror Dome definitively stating as much. All right, we are getting back into the topic of the second-year quarterbacks, and we are bringing in William Bennett to the stream. William, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Good. How y'all doing? How y'all doing, faithful? Good to see you.
It's been a good show today. I was excited that NFL Live did this little segment, right? They were talking about all the first-round picks from last year, all the second-year quarterbacks coming in: Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones. And then they wanted to talk about where they belonged within who's got the most pressure on them, who takes the biggest jump this year, who's most set up for success, who's least set up for success, and who has the most to prove. And it felt like a great exercise to walk through with fellow faithful. So I definitely want to get your take on it. Chris Royal, as always, coming in. My man, William O.G. Bennett. I love it. I love the enthusiasm between those of us that are here all the time.
That's my boy, Chris.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So we got those 5 rookies, right? That's now second-year players, and we're trying to put them into categories. William, who do you see having the most pressure on them? And, how are you defining that pressure? When you look at who you're putting in that category, why are you putting them in there? Okay.
Just to piggy a little bit of back off of Sean 591. He actually took a lot of the ideas I had, thoughts I had, to where I would say Trey Lance as reason I would say Trey Lance is because of how he was taken.
Yeah, because they traded up to get him, right? Gave up significant assets.
They traded up from 12 to 3 to get him, and we haven't seen anything out of him really yet. So everything's just a mystery for us right now. I know everybody's being positive and what's your name and everything for him, and I believe he's gonna do great.
Me too.
But the proof is in the pudding, and we don't know until we know. So
that's right. You can't be certain until it's in the record books, until it has already happened.
The field, we see it on that Sunday. We don't know, but I think young man is going to do a decent, good job.
Me too. And I like that reasoning. I like the idea of, hey, the most pressure is there because this organization gave up the most assets in order to bring him in. And they were an organization that was on the cusp when they did so. Those assets could have added value. Even if you dislike Jimmy Garoppolo as a quarterback, I think it's fair to argue that if you continue to try and surround him with talent, you would probably become a better team each year.
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand, Trey Lance is really gonna be the talk of the NFL.
Yeah.
He's gonna be the talk of the season because everyone is waiting to see what if Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, a lot of things, not just Trey Lance, ability is riding on this season. You have a lot of people who are how can I say who are connected and riding with him. Like,
yes,
it ain't just Trey Lance that people would criticize. You can understand John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, even though they can say, oh, well, he's still learning and everything like that. No, you went up to the third round and chose this young man. Then you set him for a year. So now you talking about playing him. People want to see that you know what you're doing, because you got to understand Kyle has a lot on him right now. I don't think he going to the championship kind of eased that flame on him, but he has a little simmer up under him because go ahead.
No, I was just going to agree with you in that I think that that's absolutely true. He has a little bit of heat underneath him because there's like this whole section of the fan base that is waiting for him to fall off again this year, right? That believes the hype of, well, Kyle Shanahan has a good year and then he has a bad year and then he has a good year and he has a bad year. So there's a bunch of Niner faithful. I mean, I don't know, maybe faithful might not be the right word. Maybe they wouldn't call themselves faithful, but there's a lot of Niner fans, a significant portion of them, that believe that Kyle Shanahan is this inconsistent individual. So I agree. I think that there is pressure for him.
Yeah, because you got to understand, is one of the worst things one of the worst things is making it to the show and not winning. Making it there more than once and not winning. Getting near it and not winning. You feel what I'm saying?
Isn't that ironic that like you get less heat if you don't even come close, and you get more heat?
But for you to keep reaching that accolade and just keep falling off, he did it with Atlanta,
right?
He did it with Kansas City. Both were almost like twin Super Bowls. Like he was leading by great numbers in both, and lost in second half.
Brutal.
It just slipped away from them. Then you go to a championship and you're playing a team that you've been beating consistently, and you lose, and they go on to win the Super Bowl. Because I doubt that anybody would deny that if the 49ers would have beat the Rams in that championship game, we would be celebrating our sixth long-awaited Super Bowl.
We'd have had one of those damn parades, William, in San Francisco. I mean, it does make you wonder, though. Would they do the parade in San Francisco, or would they do? I guess they'd have to. It wouldn't be in Santa Clara. It would have to be in San Francisco.
It would have to be in San Francisco, but I'm not sure how well it would be welcomed.
I don't know. I mean, I think it would go off, but you never know. You never know. Man.
But if I would say someone else who has the hot seat under him, or have the most pressure, would be Trevor Lawrence. You're the number one golden boy.
Right.
Even though you went to a really bad team, a lot of the mistakes that was made, you're still the number one draft pick. You still throwing the ball. People are looking at your IQ.
And he racked up a bunch of picks, right? And those typically do fall on the quarterback.
A bunch of picks. Like, I mean, they like, okay, is this the number one? I mean, I understand you don't have a team around you, but you picking up picks like, excuse my French, Jameis Winston. I was like, you picking up picks like crazy. I was like,
yes. And it is possible to have a bounce back, right? Peyton Manning threw a wild number of interceptions his first year and bounce back to have a great career. So it's possible that Sunshine turns this one around. But I agree, there's pressure on him.
Well, they're not looking for him to have a great season. They're not looking for him to go to the playoffs with that team now. But what they are looking is his progression, his vision, his IT. Okay, you came in, the game was a little fast to you. It ain't like you went to the Niners, but you looked at a little rough. You were slinging those.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So people are looking for different this year.
Yes.
And
you have to see some uptick for the number one overall pick in order to have hope.
You gotta see some uptick. Who you gonna blame it on now? The coach took it that time. Who you gonna blame it on now?
I'd blame it on Trent Baalke personally, but that's just my 2 cents about it.
Hey, but my next person, and he's kind of in the same boat as the Niners, and that would be, as Sean said, the Jets.
Yeah.
Zach, you didn't look real good last year, Zach. I understand you went to the Jets, but now y'all had a phenomenal draft.
Yes.
A phenomenal draft.
It looks that way on paper for sure.
Kind of look pretty, people gonna be now. People gave Shula okay, you came to the Jets. We're not expecting much from you this season, but this season now, Shula he gotta show something. You got a team. Ain't nobody saying you gotta win a Super Bowl, but you gotta win some games.
Yep, pressure is on Robert Saleh and definitely Zach Wilson there in New York.
Saleh has to win some games this season because I tell you this, the thing that would really hurt the Niners and the Jets is if Miami have a better record than us.
Ooh, if Mike McDaniel comes on the scene and just lights it up from the go, man.
I'm already kind of in my feelings that Kyle, you let your protege win a Super Bowl before you.
Ooh.
So anytime we try to say Kyle is better than McVay is, I got a ring.
Yep, that's a pretty definitive end to that argument, right? I mean, we're a championship culture. Winning the championship does matter.
I mean, they both went to the show. They both lost. They both blamed that it was their quarterback. He got rid of his quarterback, went to a proven vet, won him a ring.
Yes. Dirk does bring up the fact that the Niners are playing the Dolphins this season. Are you excited for that matchup?
Very excited. I am
me too.
Very excited for that game.
That's going to be a good one.
I don't know about anybody else, but that is a must-watch game for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
To see McDaniels coming back against Kyle
Shanahan. Last game we had with Miami, that it still leaves a bad taste in our mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, that game hurt. I was like, come on, Jimmy.
Oh.
I was like, that was supposed to have been a gimme.
Yeah.
That was supposed to have been a gimme game. It was embarrassing.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Oh, if the Niners don't go into that game looking to to make a statement.
I'm with Jan on this one. If Mostert stays healthy, Miami is going to be really fast. That is going to be a tough offense.
They're going to be really fast, really fast. People like it was said before, people think Tyreek Hill is a downhill runner. He's not. That's not what he does. He just gets yak yards. He runs short, catch the ball, and takes off. And he's so quick and elusive that it's hard to get a hand on him. He's good at making you miss.
Yeah. Yep.
And once he's off to the races. The young man is fast.
I'm very excited for that game. All right, let's transition to the next category for these second-year quarterbacks. Who do you think is going to make the biggest jump out of the second-year quarterbacks between Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, or Mac Jones?
The biggest jump? I would like to say Trey Lance, but I can't. I'm sorry, Faithful, because we haven't seen enough of him to say, oh, he's made this, this.
That was Teddy Bruschi's point, too.
Games. We don't really have anything to judge him on. So I can't say Trey Lance, even though I would love it to be him. I think the person who game will, and it's between these two people, and it's for two different reasons. I think it will be between Justin Fields, and Mac Jones.
Oh, Rinjin, I think is the name, agrees with you. The Patriots QB threw in there. So Mac Jones or what was the other one there? That was Justin Fields. So what's your logic between those two?
The reason I say Justin Fields, not that he has a great team about him, but the young man is smart. He's an athlete. He's quick. He observes, and when he starts to get a rhythm and pick your weakness, he can take advantage of it. He's a good young man. If we would have drafted him, we would be no worse for wear.
He is a phenomenal athlete, no doubt about that.
He is a phenomenal athlete, and he has the smart. I just think the team is the coaching don't know what to do with it. Yeah. That's what I think is going on. They don't know what to do with him. I don't think they had that type of talent in a very long time, so they just don't know what to do with it. But hopefully they'll get somebody in that organization that can say, hey, we need to just run everything through him.
Right. I mean, their jobs depend upon his success, so you would think that they would invest in him this season.
Mac Jones, my reason for him is Belichick did good by him. Belichick ran everything through Mac Jones. He transitioned that team through Mac Jones. You could tell he played to that young man's strength. Now that he has a more vision of the game, he has the reps. Now they can start to try to do other things, play a little, work on his weaknesses. So that's why I think Mac Jones will be will have a good year, a really good year.
That makes sense. All right, we're getting to most set up for success and then least set up for success. But before we do, we got to bring in Chris Royal, Super Chat. Chris coming in. Miami is going to be all running. Tua isn't good. We and most teams with a solid defense can make them one-dimensional. Doubt they hit 500 year one. That is a bold statement, Chris. I mean, I think I have a hard time getting behind Tua and being like, oh, I disagree. I think Tua is a phenomenal quarterback. Tyreek Hill is coming out saying some bold things about Tua being a good quarterback, comparing him to his past quarterback, and he got some heat for that. I think he was just on a podcast where he talked about because he compared Tua to Patrick Mahomes, he got freaking death threats on social media. Let me take that as a moment to say, if you're out there and you think it's cool to send death threats to anybody, just stop it. That is ridiculous. That is like,
it's not that serious.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. These are real people. These are real lives. Anyway, I don't want to go down that rant. But so to Chris's point here, I can't get on board and be like, oh, Tua's going to light it up. But I do have faith in Mike McDaniels, Mickey D. I got to put him above 500. Not too far above 500, but I got him above 500. What do you think, William? Below or above 500?
I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna put him right in the middle. I'm gonna put him in the. I'm gonna put 500. I think the Mike got him. I think he's gonna play to that young man's strengths. He's putting a hell of a team around him.
He is. Dirk points out Tua has insane receivers, and that is correct.
Tua has one thing that being with those other players is gonna give him confidence. He has a coach that believes in him, or that told him. Because honestly, I think Tua thought when the coaching changed, I think he thought he was on his way out.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was on his way out until there was that televised call between Mike and Tua where he was like, "No, yeah, we're going with you, Tua."
And I don't mean to interrupt you, Rob. But why can't we do that for Trey?
I don't know. I don't know, William.
I know people don't look at that as being big, but that's big.
It's huge.
Back. Hey, you're my guy. And you've seen every coach show that, hey, this is my guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why can't we?
Yep. It's hard. So we're leading right into most set up for success, and I know definitively who my answer is for most set up for success, and yet he would be more set up for success if Kyle Shanahan would just do what you're talking about there, William, and come out and say it. There's just no reason not to at this point. But I'm interested to hear, is there anyone else in your mind who's equally well set up for success, or is it Trey Lance by a mile on this one?
If there's another person who's set up for success, I would believe, and I'm gonna put it like this, and I know some people may not agree with this, but Tua is set up for success.
Tua, okay, yeah, all right.
I'm not saying the Jets. The reason I'm not saying the Jets with all the talent they got, because these are rookies. It's going to take them time.
Yeah.
But Tua have Super Bowl and Super Bowl appearing running backs, receivers. He got a lot around him right now.
Yeah. Well, we kind of introduced Tua to the equation because we were talking about Miami. He doesn't fit in this actual equation of 5 quarterbacks, but we're going to allow that Tua is also set up for success. Who do you think is least set up for success between those second-year quarterbacks? Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones.
Least set up for success, Justin Fields.
Yeah, that's a rough team. That's a rough team.
I just don't know what they're doing over there.
Are we going to eat him alive in week 1 or what?
I'm sorry?
Are we going to eat him alive in week 1? Is our defense just going to be all over him?
They're going to just be all over him. They're going to be all over him. It's not going to be the same as, Debo saved us. It's not going to be that game. Trust. It's not. We're going to eat them apart. And the sad thing is, Trey Lance played, he knows Justin Fields.
Right.
Well, they're friends. They've hung out together. So he knows a little bit of his tendencies. He's seen them. So unlike Jimmy.
Right.
And I think Justin knows that he's getting a different show from Trey than they had to worry about from Jimmy. But I just don't know what they're doing in Chicago. I don't know why they're not building that team around him, or just saying, hey, okay, what can we do to make him better, or I just don't know what they're doing. It's like right now, everybody's over there with their thumb up the proverbial rabbit hole line.
Yeah, the proverbial rabbit hole. Well said, sir. Yeah, it is. Like, that's my question. It's like, what are you doing? Like I get it if you're rebuilding. I get it if you're tearing it down. I get it but it just doesn't feel like they're doing anything.
Like, it don't feel like they're doing anything. I'm like, you're actually losing pieces. Then I'm just not getting it. Like,
Yeah,
You're not
I'm with
bringing
you.
anything in, really. You're just like, okay, we got Justin Fields. We're going to see how it goes.
Well, he's athletic as hell, so let's just see if he can win some games for us. All right, so we're getting to the tail end of the show. That light in the background making me a witness protection here is the sign that we're getting close to my heart out. But who's the last one with the most to prove this year? Between Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones, who's got the most to prove?
I'm gonna have to go with Shawnee and Trey.
Yeah,
he's on a phenomenal team.
Yep,
and I don't mind saying that.
Nope, I don't mind hearing it.
He's on a he has everything set up around it. I mean, if Trey just go out there and be you, Trey. I'm just hope that the reports and the things that everyone has said and the progressions that they've seen and the upgrades and all that they've seen out of Trey and the confidence and that is true. That is really what we get, because by week 4 we gonna know.
Yes, we will. Goodness gracious.
We gonna know what we got. You can't really judge Trey off them first 3 weeks.
No.
Even if he win them, you can't really judge him off.
Right. Maybe the Denver game you look at as one that you're hanging your hat on, but until we go up against the Rams, that'll be a real measuring stick game.
I think Trey is gonna put up numbers on him, but I think it's really gonna be our defense that just crushes that.
Yeah.
But week 4, we gonna know what we got in Trey.
Week 4. You heard it here. Well, this has been a fantastic call, William. As always, I want to call out that we got Batman rolling today. We always got to keep in contact about where we are in the offseason. This one I do know as a DC. That one I know for sure. Batman is DC, so I won't be saying Marvel this week, but I had to call it out because people are following along.
Hey, man, I thought I'll bring out a classic.
Yes, sir, and it is. You cannot go wrong with a Batman logo. That absolutely is a winner in my book. I was always, as a kid, there were just a couple of comics that I would buy. I was pretty religious of Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman. I was mainstream on that regard. But every time we would go out for like summer vacation, my brother and I, we would stop at some roadside place. We'd grab a couple of 10-cent freaking comic books, and that would keep us entertained for days, man.
Yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, I had to get 3 action figures. Because you got to get your Justice League on, but I had to get Superman, and you got to get a Batman and a Robin. You got to get those 3.
No collection is complete without those.
The Batmobile, because see, you can simulate flying with Superman, but you got to have the Batmobile for Batman and Robin.
They got something to ride in. Man, William. Hey, I always appreciate our calls. It's always a pleasure having you on here. I hope to see you again next week, my friend.
Hey, I'll be right here. Like I said, It's always a pleasure, Rob. Hey, like and subscribe everyone to this fabulous channel by my man Rob right here, doing a good thing for the faithful and the Niners organization. So many shout outs to you, sir. We appreciate you in keeping us going through these off seasons.
Thank you, William. It means a great deal to hear it, man. Cheers to you, my friend. I always appreciate having you on.
Cheers to you, sir.
Right on. All right, William. We will see you again soon, sir.
Peace out, faithful.
All right. We will wrap this one up. This was a fantastic show. Thank you for being here. I will be back on tomorrow with Jack Hammer. This time around, I promise we will make it happen. Jack and I have been bouncing back and forth a little bit. Tomorrow should be at 4 p.m. Tune in. You can follow me at The Left Shoe on Twitter if you want to get that notification of when I'm going live. Like the video before you leave, and I will see you tomorrow. Until then, cheers, faithful.